Good evening, friends, and welcome to the 50th show
Hard
of
to
the
believe,
Bill
isn't it?
Crane Report. Duane and I have managed to muck our way through it for 50 episodes.
Who would have thought 50 shows?
Yeah. And you know, I can't help but brag just a little bit, and I know you feel the same way, but we've gotten better as we've gone along.
Oh, no comparison.
Yeah. And we get some...
We haven't been bombed. We haven't been threatened. Well, we've been threatened.
We've been threatened, yeah.
Nobody ever followed through with it. So.
But, so we're really proud of this accomplishment that we've made it through 50. And we made a deal. We're going for another 50. See what happens.
That's better than 2 years of regular TV shows.
That's exactly right.
I think sitcoms only do 24 or something a year, or
And
22.
you know, the best thing of all is that you folks can sit down, dial up, norfolkcable.com or YouTube, and you can sit there for 50 hours and watch our programs straight through.
That's right. Just have everything ready, though, because we
That's
don't
right.
have any commercials.
That's exactly
So you got to have your 12-pack here and your potato chips over here. So.
And a potty.
That's right.
Because you don't want to miss a word.
Nope.
But anyway, we kind of hoped that we'd have some fun with tonight's show, and we're going to try to do it. But last night in Dallas, Texas, there was a tragic and terrible event. We're just finding the fallout from it now as we speak. But last night, law enforcement in that city was attacked by, name them, terrorists, haters, criminals, just bad people. These violent cowards turned out to be, well, we're not sure what they are yet, but they're bad actors, and that 5 police officers are dead in the ambush, and the last count is 11 people, and I'm not sure whether they're police or civilians, but there is 11 people in the hospital from this attack. As this situation evolves and we get to see clearly what happened, I think that the best thing we can do is to keep all those killed or injured in our prayers, and to remember to keep all law enforcement personnel also in our prayers, not only for their safety, but also that they act wisely and judiciously as they perform this most demanding profession. You know, my friends, we've got to ask ourselves what kind of a country we are. We've sent missions to the moon. We have a space station orbiting Earth. We build fantastic airliners that fly safely the skies of the world without a problem. We develop vaccines and surgeries to cure or control all sorts of maladies and improve our health for all of us worldwide. Yet we cannot seem to get beyond the color of people's skin or the stain of slavery. Our leadership is morally bankrupt, and for the most part, fools and hypocrites. As the old saying goes, what a fine kettle of fish this is. We can do better. We can do better as a country. We have to do better as a country.
That's right, it'll be anarchism.
Yeah, and if we allow law enforcement to be eroded or compromised, Then it will be vigilanteism in the streets.
Yep, exactly.
And we'll be counting the dead in the numbers of thousands. And it'll be something we'll never recover from.
Could be in Iraq, in Afghanistan, could be anything there.
It could be. Well, all right, folks. We're going to follow this story very closely.
Yep.
And I think we'll probably lead off with it next time. We'll have a lot more facts, and hopefully there's no more problems.
Oh, I hope so.
But we've got to address this.
Yep.
If you and I are the only two that can bring sense to this, we got to do it.
Yep.
So, welcome to our 50th show again. And that's the good news. The great news is that we're going to produce 50 more, by hook or by crook.
Yep.
So we will continue to provide you with the moral compass you need to enable you to live fulfilling lives. We got broad shoulders and we can do it.
We can do it.
We're halfway through the year. And to my mind, the biggest stories of the year are international terrorism, our presidential election, the drug crisis, and corruption on many levels.
Yep.
International terrorism speaks for itself.
Yep.
But you know, I heard a very smart person this morning define terrorism. I never thought of it, to be honest with you. But in less than a sentence, she defined it. Terrorism is attacking civilians to advance a political agenda.
Certainly.
Bingo. And this act in Dallas last night was, to my mind, a perfect act of terrorism.
Of course it is.
And we're going to have to call it that. But our president came out courageously this morning and pinned the blame on guns. Yeah. So the guns acted independently.
You knew that was coming.
Bingo. Words can't
What
describe.
do you think the chances are that the paper said there was two snipers? I don't know if they still.
They've got 4 people in custody.
All right. What do you think the chances are that those 4 people legally bought those weapons?
They don't know. But I can tell you one of those people that was firing those weapons is dead. And they killed him with a robot. They ran a robot up behind him and exploded it.
I'll venture a guess that none of them had legal weapons.
Yeah. It's going to be very interesting to find out what their political and or religious bent is also.
Right.
What kind of folks they are. It could be anything. I mean, you know, it could be Muslims. It could be some radical anti-government group.
Yes, some spin-off from that Black Lives Matter group.
That's it, exactly. It could be racial haters.
But you know, it's got to be something, because there's not one individual. You get 2 and 3 and 4 individuals in a group, then there's a cause.
Absolutely. And they're not talking.
Yeah.
That's what the Dallas police chief said. Fox interviewed some great people this morning, including the sheriff of Milwaukee. Boy, I'll tell you what, I would vote for him for president
Yeah,
tomorrow.
I've seen him before.
Boy. We have a presidential election coming that defies description.
It certainly does. We'll just wait and see how that plays out.
Yep. We have this drug crisis in this country that is getting worse and worse and worse. Massachusetts is going to do their part. Marijuana is going to go on the ballot.
Yep, along with a bunch of other states.
Yep, yep. And we've got corruption on so many levels.
So many levels.
Yep. But in a contradictory fashion, we are still a happy and healthy country. And at the same time, an unhappy, divided, and troubled land, with a great deal of the population frustrated and angry. We are led by fools, and it is a trap of our own making on all levels. A perfect example of that is the Massachusetts legislature, which has spent the entire year wrangling over the correct and proper etiquette of bathrooms and who can use them and when.
You know, I lay awake at night thinking about it.
Just straight, yeah, I mean, you can only go during the full moon in October, I don't know. They also spent an inordinate amount of time in snakes in Quabbin Reservoir.
That was brilliant.
Yeah. Or the brilliant entire ride for hire controversy, Uber and Lyft and the taxis.
Yep.
If it weren't for these three issues, that mess of phonies on Beacon Hill wouldn't have had anything to talk about all year.
That's right.
And they wouldn't have even had to go into session. And yet they wasted the entire year hamstrung by these real crises. I mean, haven't we been able to function with bathrooms without
course.
the legislature interfering?
Who
God.
cares what snakes out there? There's been snakes out there for years.
Of course. And there's snakes around here. Big, ugly, stupid things. They're not poisonous, but they're nasty.
Well, there's rattlesnakes at Blue Hills.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I wouldn't want to plant anymore, but what they are, what they are.
But if it weren't for these issues,
what's
they wouldn't have had anything to
No, they wouldn't have anything to talk about.
caterwaul all about all year.
Bill, it's justifying your existence. Is
That's
what this is.
exactly. Yeah. I'm telling you. But you know what? Duane and I are glass half full guys, not glass half empty guys.
If it's a good brew, I want it
That's
full.
right.
I want it full all the way, not half full.
So, I must admit, I stole this idea from the Sun Chronicle. I saw it in the Sun Chronicle. I read the first 2 lines of it, and I shut it. I said, that's a great idea, but I'm not going to steal any of this guy's thoughts. But he wrote about
I'm not
100...
I steal it from wherever I can.
Yeah, you're shameless.
I'm shameless.
And you do it without a mask, too.
That's right.
Yeah. So I've decided Duane and I would compile a list of the 100 great things about living in America. And as I say, I saw probably 3 of this guy's list, and I said to myself, I can't go any further. This is a great idea, be something great for us to talk about, and I'm not going to copy any of his thoughts. Copy his idea, but... but before we embark on that, I do have a couple of rants I've got to get out of my system. I have some thoughts about addiction. Nicotine addiction, smoking or chewing. It's a filthy habit. Smelly, dirty people. They don't care about their health. Smoking stinks, unless it's marijuana, of course. Alcoholics, drunken bums, ruin their health, destroy their families, and it can be very expensive. Drug addicts, very misunderstood. Nice people trapped by the disease of addiction. They ingest illegal substances against the law. But heck, they're not hurting anybody. So which of these addictions, smoking, drinking, or drug addiction, of these addictions, which addicts commit the most crimes? Any thoughts on that?
The crimes is crimes?
Yes.
Drug addicts.
Right? You're absolutely right. Which addicts do the most murders?
Drug addicts.
Do the most robberies,
Drug
thefts, B&Es?
Yep.
Which addicts do liberals feel do not deserve prison? I'm sorry, let me stop right there. Which addicts do liberals feel do not deserve prison?
Well, it has to be drug addicts.
That's right.
There's no real prison terms for nicotine or alcohol.
That's right. So, I have here an advertisement from a 1913 edition of Hunter, Trader, Trapper. magazine. And I love this. It's a great, great ad. It's on the back of the magazine. And there's a picture of a red fox in a trap. And it says, "Rained sly, chickens fly, sudden snap, Victor trap." When these are the drug addicts up here, chickens fly is when they're doing their drugs. Sudden snap is when the police apprehend them. And Victor trap that holds them should be prison. But it's not. We open up the trap and let the fox go again. We don't believe in putting addicts, criminals, ne'er-do-wells in prison because they're trapped by this addiction. I just fail to see it. I'm sorry, Duane.
Well, it's a round-going problem. It's like being on a merry-go-round, you can't get off.
Yeah.
This one reflects this one reflects this idea. Other countries have tried different things, some successful, some not. I don't know what we're going to do.
I know this much. Putting them back on the streets is not the answer to
No.
anything.
No.
You know, we have a declining death rate in this country, murder rate. You know why? Because we have bad guys in prison. That's why. We're going to put them back out on the street. That's what the liberal group wants to do. And I'm going to tell you right now where the death rate is going to go. It's going to go straight up. And then the liberals will say, aha, it's the fault of the guns.
Yep.
These guys let out of prison, they got mixed up with guns.
Well, don't forget.
And it's the guns that are.
Catch and release program is good for trout fishing. It's not good for law enforcement.
Yeah, it sure is. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Now, I have a message for men. All right, men?
Men.
I'm putting you on warning. Lan. The Hungry Ghost Festival is coming on July 14th, next Thursday.
What?
It is a Hungarian ghost festival.
Oh, that kind of a hungry ghost.
Yes, I'm sorry. I slurred my words.
No, I thought
That's
you
a
said,
damn new
you
false
said
Steve.
hungry ghost. I had a whole different mental image of that.
Well, men, listen up. And by gosh, by golly, if you don't pay attention to this warning and get in trouble, I'll the heck with you. But on next Thursday, according to Yulan, the Hungarian ghost, the gates of hell will open, and all the evil ghosts will stalk the world. S-T-A-L-K. Stalk the world on next Thursday.
Is there any protection for like wearing garlic or anything that would help?
I don't know of any except stay in the house and lock the door. Now, I know in the past, some of these evil ghosts have come to Norfolk. And they have transformed into witches. I know because I dated some back in my single days.
Okay.
And this dump's still around.
Yep.
So,
better be careful with that.
being forewarned, okay, you're armed now. All right? To resist these witches. And I'll tell you, it's not a pleasant thing. Are you infuriated by one particular ad on TV like I am?
A couple of them. I know I saw yours here, and there's one right on a new one that's out there right now that irritates the hell out of me.
Really?
Go ahead with yours.
All right.
I'll tell you mine.
Messing with Sasquatch, produced by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. These ads tick me off so much I wouldn't eat any of that crap if they dropped a case of it off at my house for free. The ads feature prepubescent morons or brain-dead adults playing dirty tricks on a big dumb animal. This is a great message for young folks, by the way. But let me be perfectly honest with you. I root for Sasquatch.
Oh, I do too.
Yep. And I always hope he catches these idiots and tears them limb from limb. To feature ads like this that encourage you to abuse a dumb animal, even if it's supposed to be a joke, is incredibly stupid as far as I'm concerned. Mm-hmm. And you have a complaint.
I don't like when they portray the husband or the head of the household as stupid. The kids are smart, the wife's smart, and it's always the husband that's stupid, that encore food all the time.
Oh.
He just was praised as a total idiot. Now there's a new one, McDonald's,
Okay.
with the lobsters. They got lobster roll.
Oh.
The man takes his kid out lobster fishing.
Yep.
He has to show him how to pull up the trap, how to open it, how to put the band on it, how to fold the rope and stuff. So what do? They go to lunch. Now, I'm sure a lot of lobstermen go to McDonald's for a lobster roll after.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, they sit down at the table. He can't figure out how to open the box. And the kid gives him this look of disgust and goes, "Oh, I'll take care of it, Dad." And he goes, "Oh."
Yeah, look at those things
That's
on
how
the
you
side.
open that box.
Yeah, another example of male stupidity.
Yep.
And I'm surprised, of course, if the wife was there, it would have been just as bad.
Oh, she'd have known everything.
But the kids, oh, God. Well, I got one more complaint, folks. Here. This is going to be show and tell complaint, by the way. And that is this article from the Herald. Police searching for clues in pair of reported gropings. Apparently, there's a groper hanging around in the Richfield Street and Columbia Road area of Dorchester. And he has touched a couple of women on the butt.
Uh-oh.
And this is actually a big article about it. Well, hold on to it. I get groped practically every time I go to a shopping mall. I got groped in the post office the other day.
Oh.
Do you think that bothers me?
No.
No. And I'm going to prove it to you, folks. Okay? Right here. Lee jeans. Look at the holes in the pants pockets. I have got practically every pair of Lee jeans that I own have got repairs back here from women grabbing me in the stores.
Or else he's got too big a wallet.
Well, sure, that's not the case. But anyway, I still see where this is a big problem. All right, so let's sail into 100 great things about America.
Okay.
Number one, and by the way, friends, this is in no order. No order of importance. Clean air and clean water. Good. Boy, do we take that for granted, huh?
Not every place in the world has
it. How about Brazil trying to get ready for the
that's going
Olympics?
That's going to be a horror show.
It's going to be awful. Our national park system. Mm-hmm. Great stuff. Yep. Great stuff. Now, special time out here. I want to wish a special shout out to a loyal viewer, my niece, Emily Grossmith, who loves our program and eagerly awaits each new episode. Atta girl, Emily.
Brings our viewer count up to 3.
We're going to hit double numbers
That's
yet.
right.
So, you're going to enjoy this show, Emily. Take notes. Okay, back to the good categories here. All the sports that's on TV. I know you're not a big sports fan.
I am on certain sports.
Yeah, but boy, I'll tell you, you can find sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yep.
All the great books that are available through our fine library system. Great stuff.
These were great insights that somebody in history had. The library system, national park system.
Yeah.
Yeah, these really paid off.
Yeah, they really did. No question about it. Here's one that we don't think about that often.
That's right.
Cars that last for years and years.
It wasn't too long ago.
Every 3 years, you turned in your
An
car.
automobile that's got 75, 80,000 miles, you think, well, this thing's going to the junk heap. A 100,000-mile car, it was shot.
I remember there was a sales executive up to Jamesbury who oh, he may be still alive, so I won't mention his name. But it was a pretentious gas bag. And we were going out to lunch one day. He was taking us out to lunch. And I said, nice car you got here. Well, he said, it's not bad for having 42,000 miles on it. He said, I'm turning it in next week. It's the first time I've ever had a car with over 40,000 miles on it.
That wasn't that unusual.
Oh, I know, but he did it as being a pretentious moron. But anyway, cars now.
Oh,
I mean, talk to Paul Roach and Kevin down in Norfolk Auto. I mean, they'll tell you they get cars in to repair and take care of, 250,000 miles. I had a couple of my Buicks went over 200,000. My kids were in them. I bought them from the company.
Friends in Texas got a Lexus. It's got 325,000.
Yeah.
They're going to drive it to New England this summer.
Kevin bought a Camry recently at the auction with 268,000 miles on it. And I said, Kevin, what are you going to do? The $50 for that? He says, no. He said, he threw a number out. He said, I'll get it too. He said, I got 2 people who've called me already.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So cars are a great bargain here if you buy correctly. Here's one too that people around the world don't have, and that's toilet paper.
Yep.
Believe it or not, people don't use toilet paper around the world. Our seashores, magnificent seashores, great fishing, swimming, laying in the sun and getting skin cancer. I mean, they're, all kinds of things you can do with the seashore.
They're attractive and they're beautiful.
They're beautiful, is right. Old car shows. Patrick and I were going to go to the cruising night up to...
on Thursdays?
Yeah, last night. It was unsettled weather, and so we just said, no. But that's a great take up there. The 700-800 cars up there.
It's amazing how that thing has grown.
Oh, unbelievable. And I like going around to some of the Buick owners of the U.S. have an annual get-together.
Yep.
And I bumped into it in Buffalo, New York, accidentally. What a great take to see, 100 years of Buicks. The sound of a loon at night.
Yeah. Oh, that is nice.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Great. Corn on the cob.
You wait all year for it.
Yep. And a couple, 3 weeks, and it's gone.
Have you noticed that corn on the cob, early corn on the cob, has gotten a whole lot better in the past couple of years?
No, I haven't.
It used to be that stuff you'd get in,
coming up from Florida?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like cardboard. Now it's pretty close to what they're growing.
Do you know what I think is probably they transport it up on straight shots now, rather than from one load to another load to finally somebody that brings, And if they hot shot it up on one truck, a dedicated truck, it's up here in 20 hours, 24 hours. So I think freshness with corn on the cob is everything. But boy, corn on the cob is great when it's in. How about flea markets?
We have enough junk at home.
Yeah. I still like to go look at stuff.
I'm afraid she'll buy something or I'll buy something.
Yeah, I know the feeling well. I don't think my wife and I go to a yard sale or a flea market without bringing back more stuff we couldn't live without.
Yeah, we're trying to unclutter, so.
Yeah, that's a battle that's going on at my house too, and we seem to be losing that battle.
Yes, I am anyway.
The majesty and beauty of eagles. Boy, I'll tell you, to see an eagle in the wild is a beautiful, beautiful thing. My brother-in-law has a camp up in Maine on Moxie Pond up at the Forks. And diagonally out his front door is a small island. It's actually just a piece of land. And there's a huge pine tree on it. And in the top of the pine tree is a nest the eagles use every year.
Those big, great big things.
Yeah. And to hear them up there squawking, and that's great stuff. Fried clams. You know, I'm not sure there's anything better.
With me, any kind of clam could be fried, could be steamed, could be. Even I'll eat them raw, but I prefer oysters.
Yeah, yeah. Good stuff. Here's something we take for granted, I'll tell you. Stores with well-stocked shelves.
That's a rarity in a lot of places.
How about Venezuela? They're killing each other down there for 2 cans of Campbell's pork and beans.
We have some friends that we've go to Aruba several times now, and they go every year, and they said it's so bad that, well, Venezuela, you know, Aruba's about 20 miles off the coast of Venezuela, that they come over on the weekends. When they leave, there's no toilet paper left. There's none of this, none of that, because they stock all this stuff up, take it back with them, because they can't get it.
Yeah. And that is something that has really bedeviled Venezuela for years, is toilet paper. How the hell can you run out of toilet paper
It's a
all the time?
mismanaged country. It's
Yeah,
so
it is.
corrupt. Everything,
Oh, yeah.
all of North natural resources are being sucked off.
Socialism.
Exactly.
At its best. They should be the poster child for socialism everywhere. A great car mechanic.
Priceless.
I'll tell you, if you were to choose between a beautiful mistress and a good car mechanic, I'd go with the good car mechanic every time.
Probably get you out of trouble more often.
Absolutely. And not only would be attractive, but would be functional too.
That's right.
The free enterprise system. You know, we take that for granted too, Duane.
And there's an element in this country that don't want it. They don't like it.
Yeah.
They want socialism.
Yeah.
They want.
Yeah. But yet, you talk to a fellow that, as a young man, built a couple of sheds in his backyard. Then, built a shed for a neighbor. Then the neighbor's neighbor. Now he builds sheds. That's his job.
Yeah.
He builds sheds. He started a company.
This morning on the radio, there
do
was
that under socialism.
No, this morning on the radio, they said, you know, guess who this is? He invested $500, and they gave his time and age, and it's now worth $48 billion. His name is Nike, N-I-K-E, Nike.
Nike.
$500 in a shoe business.
Hey, only in America.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable. And you could go on and on
Sure you
forever.
can.
The interstate highway system.
Yeah. That we can thank Eisenhower.
Eisenhower, Dwight David Eisenhower. You know, there's a guy that, for one reason or another, and I think it's because he turned politician after World War II, that people tended to look down their nose at him and said, well, he's a dullard. And so now he's president, you know. Gee whiz, why does he hang it up? And
That was conceived for a military use.
absolutely.
They couldn't move.
So they could move troops.
That's right. And armaments and tanks.
Oh, yeah.
In those days, missiles were coming into the thing, and they had no roads to get them around. So
Yeah. Oh, that was he was brilliant.
that was good.
Yeah, that was a brilliant move. And it was well handled.
Yes, it was.
Now, today we could never do that. The politicians dipping into everybody's pockets. And here's one, Duane, that, knock on wood, and let's pray to God that we haven't jinxed anybody, but safe air travel.
That's a phenomenon.
It really is. We maintain these planes, and the planes are so well designed that it is unbelievable how long it is between crashes of commercial air flights.
That's right.
I think the last one of any real circumstance was Sully's landing of
In the Hudson
that
River, yeah.
U.S. Airways flight into the river, the Hudson River or the East River, I forget which one it was. which was a magnificent feat on his part.
You can't take into acts of terrorism here, or some of these countries that don't maintain anything.
Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could, if you offered me two choices. One is getting shot in the head, or two, flying on a Russian Airways.
I'd walk before I got
Yeah, yeah. Either that or I'd take a chance on the gun misfiring. But safe air travel is something we take for granted. We don't stop and think about it. In fact, if we lined up 1,000 people here on Main Street, and we went up and down, now the people, commercial air travel, they'd find things to bitch about. Oh, the seats are crowded. The snack is so lousy. It's late. It's on time. It came early and I wasn't ready. And God Almighty, but never did they stop and think of what a wonderment our air travel system is.
The complexity of that is unbelievable.
Yeah. And I forget how many flights a day there are.
Just thousands and thousands.
Thousands upon thousands of them. I saw the number once. Now, I don't know. It's hard for me to believe there's 27,000 flights a day, but
Yeah, probably.
it's unbelievable. And we fly them. We put them up there in the sky, and they don't bang into each other.
Yep.
Oh, our Bill of Rights, free speech, the right to bear arms, well, both of which are going to come under fire if the Democrats win this election. But our Bill of Rights is a magnificent thing. Our professional sports teams here in Boston, including the Red Sox, the Bruins, the Patriots, the Celtics, all of them, in their own way, strive to be good teams, well-run teams, and try for the championship every year. They're fun to watch. Cats and dogs.
Yep. Pets.
Pets, yeah. Including my current cat, Harvey. Great authors like John O'Hara, Arthur Conan Doyle, and Roald Dahl. I asked my wife for help. I said, who's your favorite author? She said, Roald Dahl. I guess he writes or wrote, because he had the 100th anniversary of his birthday recently. Children's books. She said as a kid she read them all. She loved them all. Libraries, but I already talked about that. I'm getting redundant here. Here's one we haven't talked about. Chinese restaurants.
Great food. And many of them, many kinds to pick from too.
And mountains of food,
yep.
and at a low price.
Yep.
Freedom of religion.
Again, not worldwide. That's by any means.
Not by any means. And that's something we have to defend in this country too. I forget who I was talking to, but I think it was Father Conley, Monsignor Conley. And he said he had a friend that mentioned to him that I can say Mass now. The next generation will find it very difficult to say Mass and will have to do it on the sly, and the following generation will be in prison. That's where he thinks organized religion's going. Yeah. Going fishing and going trapping. Two things I used to love to do.
I never did trapping. Fishing I still enjoy today.
Yep. Reading.
Yep.
Love reading. Duane, you must have a few that you'd like to toss in here.
On my own. Accurate weather forecasting. Have you seen how much more accurate they are today than they were 10 years ago even?
Well, before, even 20 or 30 years ago, they'd get barometric pressure readings telexed in from Hartford, Connecticut, New York, and all that, and they'd plot out, oh, it's going down.
Yeah. Now, they forecast rain on Thursday. By 4 o'clock at 3:30, it starts to rain.
Yeah.
They got it down to the minute sometimes. It's phenomenal. Whale watches. One of our favorite summer activities.
Magnificent.
A great one is Captain John's right out of Plymouth. Parking is easy. The boats are nice.
What do they charge you for that?
Seniors, I think, are $36.
Boy,
It's an all afternoon or all morning.
I'll tell you, that's cheap when you stop and think about it.
And here's one that I've been searching. I don't. Popeye's chicken.
Oh, yeah.
There's an ad every 15 minutes.
And there's no Popeyes around
And there's no
here.
Popeyes here.
Yeah, go to their website and you can't find anything.
It's the best fried chicken I've ever had.
Yeah.
And their shrimp stuff, it's all got that
Yeah.
same batter on it.
Yeah, and you know it's the same thing too, with oh shoot, what's that other seafood store? Oh, the Red Lobster.
Red Lobster, yeah.
Yeah, I used to eat at Red Lobster when I was on the road all the time. I loved the battered shrimp.
The last
little-
ones I've heard around here was down in Rhode Island.
Yeah, and I think that's out of business.
That could be gone too.
Yeah, and you go to their website, and there's no guidance here at all.
No.
None.
Here's one that not many people even know about here around here. Steamed cheeseburgers. They come from central Connecticut. And that's the only place you can find them. They look like hell, and they're the best cheeseburger I ever had in my life.
There we go, folks. Well, let's take a ride down to central Connecticut.
3D movies.
You know,
I love the new technology with the 3D movies.
and I haven't seen the new technology. The old stuff was pretty rugged.
Yeah, the new ones are so
Really?
realistic. You don't get that
Yeah.
eye effect or anything. No. Las Vegas.
The entertainment capital of the world.
The late Andy Williams. To me, he was one of the best crooners, if you could call him crooner, or singer
Really?
there was. Yep. And you never saw anything bad about him.
Yeah.
He never ran with a rough crowd. He was never a scandal. The American farmer.
Oh, the American farmer. Talk about taking somebody for granted.
Yeah. Microwave ovens.
Where
might
would we be without them?
I couldn't function
No.
without 'em. Not that we cook in them, but I warm them up. I
Oh,
must
yeah.
warm coffee up with 10 times a day.
I toss I like ham and cheese sandwiches. I toss them in there and melt the cheese a little bit.
Silicon Valley.
Silicon Valley. Look at the things that have
they've come
come
out of there.
out of Silicon Valley.
Girl and Boy Scouts.
Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts, sure.
Boy Scouts get such a bad rap today.
Boy, oh boy.
And here's one of my favorites, Jeff, was state fairs.
Do you know, I've really never been to a state fair. I've been to a couple of small fairs up in Maine. They're fun.
You know, it was a good one. It's not too far. It's Syracuse, New York State Fair.
Really? Yeah.
A good take.
There's 3 or 4 of them up in Maine.
Yeah. There's Freiburg up there.
Freiburg is one, yeah.
Now, I don't say state fair. I don't know about the Midway and stuff. We're not.
No.
I mean, I like going into the livestock stuff, and of course, look at me. I love eating those places. And the last one was veterans organizations, like the American Legion, VFW, for helping us to remember what holidays like Memorial Day and Veterans Day really mean.
You know what? We could put a line item in there too that says veterans,
Yep.
thanking all the
Right, of
veterans.
course.
We take them for granted. It's, well, something you guys did, you know, and then they go on to the next subject. People don't understand what veterans went through
No.
in World War II or Korea or Vietnam.
No. Today, Memorial Day, Veterans Day, it's just an ad time for Macy's to run an ad.
Have a cookout and get drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More than likely a sale. Okay, well, let's
All right.
add tacked onto this bunch.
Swing music of the 30s and 40s with big bands from Glenn Miller, the Dorsey Brothers, Bob Crosby, Harry James, and countless others. Sub sandwiches.
Oh,
My favorite,
it's
ham and cheese.
afternoon already. I haven't had lunch. So.
Well, I'll tell you, right next door, Norfolk House of Pizza, go over and ask Nick to rustle you up a ham and cheese.
Okay.
Boy, oh boy, cold beer. Loved cold beer, but 1999 was the year that Dr. Zickel took me off the beer and told me, give up the beer or give up Dr. Zickel, because I am not going to allow you to keep drinking beer and then have to bury you. So that was it. That was the end of beer. The safety and security of everyday life.
Yep.
And then we have this mess down in Dallas, Texas.
Yep.
But generally speaking,
Generally speaking, look at what the other countries go through.
yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
it's crazy.
Absolute insanity. I mean, look at the kidnappings down in Mexico.
Oh, yeah.
Yemeni. The legacies of Ronald Reagan and Winston Churchill.
Yep.
Boy, oh boy. For them, born in that, and lived in that century that we lived in, it's like walking with giants, having those two. Great doctors and great hospitals. I'm sure everybody's got a complaint about a hospital or a doctor or something, but taken by and large, if you got a great doctor, boy, you've got a treasure. And the hospitals, by and large, take care of you. A lot better than a lot of other countries.
Get sick in some foreign country and see what happens.
Yeah, try to see what happens in Kenya.
Yeah, or even Cuba, where they brag about their medical system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheeseburgers and fries.
Oh,
Does that
there you
hit a
go.
note?
It sure does.
Spiders.
Spiders.
I love them. I watched a spider out in my front yard spin a web.
I like them if I can see them first.
Yeah. Well, I saw this guy spinning a web. I finally got dark, and I had to go in the house. The next day I come out, the web was this big.
Yeah.
And there he was in a corner. There was about 5 carcasses arranged around it.
Oh, yeah, you can tell where they are if you just look on the ground. We had one time that we lived in the other house. It was like a tri-level. And downstairs in the first level, in one of the windows, this spider had built, it looked like a tube web. It wasn't a web. And it was like a little tube. If you touched it, he'd come running out to see what was going on. So I used to go catch him bugs, throw them into the thing to watch him come out and grab it. He'd spin stuff up on me, and he'd take them back in that little tube.
And all there'd be would be a little shell left.
And Monica said, "Get rid of that thing. Get rid of that."
I used to do the same thing down at Factory Mutual when I was, my career as a security guard. I'd catch moths.
Yeah.
And I knew what this one spider was. And he had a little web, but he was a big spider. And I'd catch a moth, and I'd keep alive, and I'd throw him into the web.
Yeah.
And boy, I'd come back later. Nobody home.
Oh, yeah.
But the spider was a little fatter. Oh, shoot. Delicious hot coffee. Mm-hmm. Try drinking the muck that you get in Germany or in Sweden.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And I'll tell you, our coffee is great.
Yeah, it is.
No, not every single place.
No.
But you could find
Coffee's
great
coffee.
coffee.
Coffee's gotten a lot better in places you didn't expect it to.
That's exactly
McDonald's used to be swill.
Yeah.
McDonald's got good coffee now.
Yep, and they promoted it, and they sell a lot more coffee. Apple juice. I love apple juice.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, not apple cider, apple juice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. For all of the problems that we hear about,
Still pretty good.
it's pretty damn good. It's a safety net for us all. The ultra-rich don't need it, but it's a safety net for blue-collar guys and workers, and guys like us. The grace and beauty of birds. I love watching birds.
Most birds.
Yeah, well, then there's crows.
And it was the robins that built the nest in my garage.
That's right. They terrorized you.
Well, I wasn't afraid of, but Monica was sure afraid of them.
Well, you weren't happy with them pooping on the
No,
car.
because that's how they paid us back.
Oh, God. And the freedom to be what you want,
Yep.
to dream, to work hard, to strive for success, not locked up in some sort of a caste system.
That's right.
You know, we don't realize what the caste system is in India. Mm-hmm. But
Oh, it used to be so bad you couldn't get out of that. You were born into it and you were going to die in it.
yeah, I had a couple of friends of mine over the Foxborough company. We had quite a few Indian engineers over there. And one guy got to know fairly well. So one day we were talking, shooting the breeze. So I said, how many kids you got anyway? He's 4. I said, oh, okay. Because he was talking about his kids. And I said, now, did you marry an American girl? Oh, no. He said, I came to this country. I went to college here, and I started work here. But no, I married an Indian girl. So I said, you met an Indian girl here? Oh, no.
No, I'm sure it.
One Friday night, I got a call from my father in India. And he says, you will marry blah, blah, blah. And I said, who is blah, blah, blah? You will meet her in Chicago on the 24th of September.
Yep.
I'll give you the details later. That was it.
Yeah.
Went to Chicago, got married, and brought her back here.
My son's in-laws are Chinese. Their marriage was arranged.
Yeah. Now, I said to him, now, tell me something. If I'm being too personal, tell me to mind my own business. But how does love enter any of this? No. I said, what if you told your father, I'm not going to marry this girl? Oh, he says, I could never go back to my father's village ever again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I could never talk to my relatives. I would be blackballed.
Yep.
So
it's very foreign to us.
I said, but did you date American? Oh, he says, lived with an American girl for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, and yet, he says, I must do what my father tells me.
Yep.
It was quite a chat I had with him. And we had another fellow over there that was in a senior position and wasn't getting the job done. So I went to him and I said to him, the same guy, the same fellow, I said, it's not really helping me. The guy had the concept. And I said, you got to do something about it. He said, I will look into it for you, Bill. So the plant manager came to see me a week later and said, Bill, word to the wise, back off this guy. He said, leave him alone. I said, he said, I know. He says, I know what you're going to tell me, but he cannot discipline this guy. I said, why not? Because this guy is from a higher caste than he was.
Yep.
In this country. Both of them became citizens.
That caste system doesn't change when the border
It
changes.
doesn't. And all I said was, and you wonder why I tear my hair out. I said, well, I don't want to hear anything more from you on my case about I can't get product out because the guy that's supposed to be helping me is not getting the job done. And I go to his supervisor and you tell me that he's not going to supervise.
For years and years, we were, it used to be called Christian Children's Fund.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Chris.
And this little girl, I think her name was Darla, and the Christian children people said that she comes from a very low caste family.
Untouchables?
Almost, but one step above that. And they were hoping by years and years of the education and stuff that she could break out of that. But
yeah. My wife and I started sending money to Christian Children's Fund. We've had 2 kids for, 30 or 35 years. Yeah. I'm very proud of the fact that one of our boys that's been with us since he was a toddler is in college now.
Wow.
Yeah, that's great. I really hope that, we've made a difference in his life,
That's a good charity. It's not called that today. It's called
the Children's Fund.
Children's Fund, yeah.
They'd take Christian out of it. Yeah. Well, we don't want God to be involved in any of this stuff.
Well, some people would give money to it. That's part of it.
The idea of a free press.
Yeah, very foreign. In a lot of countries that you don't think it should be, but it is.
Opinion shows on TV and radio.
Well, thank God for that.
Those don't happen either.
We wouldn't be sitting here.
That's right. Our allies, Great Britain, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Israel, not a heck of a lot more.
Nope, nobody else can depend on.
The professionalism of our military. especially Special Forces, the SEALs, the Airborne. Fantastic, the job they
Absolutely.
do. Fantastic. The great feeling after a hot shower and a clean shave. And you know what? Plenty of places around the globe without hot water.
Can't get it.
Shopping.
I lived for a year
Yeah.
without it.
Yeah. Vietnam. Shopping at large, clean food stores
Yep. That's
where there's people that are begging on the streets.
okay.
LL Bean hunting boots.
Famous. That's what started the company.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Well, what was it, Lawrence?
Yep. Amazing, affordable TV sets.
Yeah. Just what they are today is unbelievable.
Unbelievable. 49, the dedication of firemen and policemen and all emergency personnel who risk their lives for us on a daily basis. You know, what really brings that into focus is how the Dallas police acted last night, putting themselves in the line of fire
Yep.
to get civilians out of the way. They didn't run and hide.
No.
They went out there, regardless of what the person's skin color was.
Knowing full well they're the ones that are being
That's
targeted.
exactly right.
Yep.
And, you know, that was not an aberration last night. That
course
is
not.
what the police do, day in, day out,
Yep.
year in, year out. And, you know, the firemen, too, had put themselves in some god-awful positions, going into houses on fire.
That's right. They don't see
Yeah.
that. I wouldn't even climb up a ladder and squirt it in the window, much less run in the building.
We owe such a tremendous thanks
Yep.
to our emergency personnel that it's unbelievable, unbelievable.
I don't know if you ever had an ambulance call.
I have been in the back of ambulances
mean.
as an EMT.
Oh, I as a patient, and let me tell you about professionalism.
Yep.
I had a heart attack a few years ago. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Right.
And finally, number 50, and we'll stop here.
Yep, good
A
point.
visit to the Olive Garden for chicken and gnocchi soup and breadsticks. Man, it doesn't get any better than that. Folks, we got 50 more things to talk about next week.
We knew we weren't going to get through this.
No.
We never get through this.
Never get through this stuff. But I got a bunch of other stuff, too, to begin with next week. And I think we'll probably spend quite a bit of time on Dallas.
Yeah, and then we can pick up here.
And God forbid this, but there's probably going to be some more problems.
Something coming up.
And we'll talk about all of that. And thank you so much for tuning in. And I know that you're thrilled by the news that there's 50 more episodes coming.
That's right.
Folks, have a great night.
Enjoy the summer.
Take care. Enjoy the summer.